to the next section. So we're going to try to come in here where we left off last week, which is the creation of evil. This is very important because a lot of people don't want to accept the fact that nothing made itself. Everything that was made, God made it. There's nothing that coexists on this earth that was self-made or self-sufficient or even, you know what I'm saying, was created on its own. Everything was created by the Most High God. Everything was. So let us continue from last week. We're going to Isaiah chapter 45 because we have to be able to substantiate this thought and be able to prove it in His Word. So Isaiah 45:1, it says, "Thus saith the Most High to His anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him. And I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass, and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness, and hidden riches of secret places, that thou mayest know that I, the Most High, which called thee by thy name, am the Elohim of Israel. For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect, I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. I am the Most High, and there is none else. There is no Elohim beside me. I gird thee, though thou hast not known me. That they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west that there is none beside me. I am the Most High, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Most High, do all these things." This is the scripture that I want to focus on. Nothing is self-sufficient. Nothing has created itself on its own. Nothing has been created by the angels. The Most High created evil. My question is, why do you think evil was created in the first place? Just a thought.
In order to know good?
Say that again.
In order to know good? The difference between evil and good?
Okay, in order to know good. In order to know that there's a difference. Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Hold on, I'm going to open that back up again. Let me get through this. It says, "Drop down, ye heavens, from above, and let the skies pour down righteousness. Let the earth open. And let them bring forth salvation, and let righteousness spring up together. I, the Most High, have created it." All right, now, she said in order for evil to be created was necessary in order to know good. That you had to be able to know that there was a difference between the two. That's a very good point. Anyone else?
Balance.
Say, why do you think evil was created?
To fulfill His word and to get glory.
Say that one more time, sis.
To fulfill the Most High's word, and He gets all the glory.
To fulfill His word and that He gets all the glory. Okay, that's good too. That's good. I mean, you got to fulfill His word, and because that's true, and that makes sure He gets all the glory. Right, because it seems like it's an opposition. One is an opposition to the other. One is good, the other is evil. One does good, the other one doesn't. One is obedient, the other is obedient.
Duality.
Say that again, sis?
Duality.
Duality, absolutely. No question about that. No question about that. So then, if that's the case, and we're going to go back to last week, if everything was predestined, so and good was created and so was evil, one would always have to oppose the other. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would that be safe to say?
I would say yes.
If Yah
yes.
represents good, then something or someone has to represent evil.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. We're gonna go there today, just a little bit. I'm just gonna deal with you just a little bit. Some of this stuff you probably already heard before, but it's necessary to lay the groundwork, because the one thing that we have to understand at all costs, no matter what we teach, is that we're dealing with a supernatural Elohim.
Mm-hmm.
Don't ever forget that, because everybody wants to bring him down to their level. They want to practicalize everything and make it make sense. They do. They want to practicalize everything and make it make sense. When he says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are not your ways, and as high as the heavens is from the earth, so is my thoughts from your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So all of the things that we think that make sense is never going to make sense, because we're dealing with a supernatural Elohim. He's supernatural.
Well, that's why he said trust him.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, right there. I was getting ready to say it, and you just, absolutely. No question about it. No.
That was an interception.
That's right. It's good to be on the same page on one accord. Absolutely. Because we're dealing with something that's beyond our comprehension. We're dealing with a being that is so intelligent that we can't even comprehend what intelligent means from his standpoint.
He also...
Go ahead, bro. Go ahead. I know you want to get in there. Go ahead. Go ahead.
He also created evil to destroy the wicked.
Absolutely. 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 Opposition. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because something had to represent the opposition, didn't it? Something had to represent the wicked, didn't it? Something had to represent iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
Something had
and
to
it was
represent.
at the time.
Oh, we on our way there. I promise. I promise. Because one thing that Yah doesn't deal in is time. Time was created for us, but that's a whole nother lesson all by itself. But the one thing that I want you to keep in mind is that we're dealing with a supernatural Elohim. If he created all this, and you don't have to go far. All you got to do is just step outside your door and just take a deep breath and look around. He created all this from thought. It's something bigger than anything you and I have to deal with. Anything we could even begin to imagine. So he said, I created all of this. Watch what he said. Mm-hmm. We're just dealing with evil. Lamentations chapter 3. It says, for the Most High will not cast off forever. Verse 3:31. I'm sorry, Lamentation 3:31. For the Most High will not cast off forever, but though he cause grief, yet will he have compassion according to the multitude of his mercies. For he doeth not afflict willingly, nor grieve the children of men, to crush under his feet all the prisoners of the earth, to turn aside the right of a man before the face of the Most High, to subvert a man in his cause, the Most High approveth not. Who is he that saith, it cometh to pass, when the Most High commanded not? Who can call anything into existence if he hadn't already put it together? Watch. Out of the mouth of the
Anybody there?
proceedeth not evil and
Hello?
good. Yes, sir. Can you see it? You can't see the screen? Can you hear me?
I can see it.
Can hear you.
Okay. Watch what he says in 38. He says, out of the mouth of the Most High proceedeth not evil and good? Oh. Does evil come out of his mouth?
If he created it, yes. He said that.
Don't both of them come out his mouth?
Yeah.
We said,
He been
wherefore
good.
does a man complain? A man for the punishment of his sins? Let us search and try our ways and turn again to the Most High. Let us lift up our hearts with our hands unto Yah in the heavens. Tell me a time when evil came out of the mouth of the Most High Yah.
Well, when he Egypt echoed when he dealt with Pharaoh.
That's true. When he dealt with Pharaoh. Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else give me another.
The plagues.
The plagues. What's another example?
When he flooded.
But she has to.
Say that again, sis. Somebody give me another example when evil was spoken out of the mouth of the Most High against us. We ain't got to just deal with Pharaoh, against us.
Yeah.
Oh, the curses.
Yes, the curses. Absolutely.
The curses.
Hello?
Yes. We can hear you. I don't know what's going on with against us. He spoke that against us.
Mm-hmm. He sure did.
Didn't he?
He spoke, but you know what? He spoke it, but we brought it into play because we were the one that was disobedient.
Absolutely.
So it's like he gave an option. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, but he still spoke it, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm.
He did. What about Micaiah?
In fact,
what about Micaiah when the two kings was going to war? Jehoshaphat and Ahab. Remember when Jehoshaphat and Ahab was going to war and they wanted to go before Micaiah to find out what Yah said about it? And it said that an evil spirit came out from around the throne. He said, who will go up and persuade Ahab at Ramoth Gilead? And the evil spirit came back and said, I will.
So he created evil.
He said, wow. He said, I'm going to be a lying spirit in the mouth of the prophets. Didn't he say that?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Yep, he said it.
So evil has always been created by Yah. Oh, we can make it good now, Yah. We're going into the meat and the potatoes. Let's get on in here. The designated God. Now, this is the topic of the whole thing that we've been preaching about, that we've been teaching in our second week. This is our second week. This is the topic of the whole thing. We can go to the cream of the crop. The king of Tyre. Go to king of Tyre. Ezekiel chapter 28. Watch what it says. It says, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyre, thus saith the Most High Elohim, because thy heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, now listen to what he said, I am a God, I am a Elohim, I sit in the seat of Yah, in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not Yah, though thou set thy heart as the heart of Yah. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that can be hid from thee. With thy wisdom and with thy understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Elohim, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of Yah. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Watch. They shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the death of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am Yah? But thou shalt be a man, and no Elohim, in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the death of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Most High Yah. What does that mean? There's a king. He's the king of Tyre. This king has got so much wealth and so much wisdom that he said, I am Yah. And the Most High said, you are not Yah. You are as a man. Watch. Just watch. Just put that into your mind and hold that for a minute. Watch. He said, moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyre, and say unto him, Thus saith the Most High Elohim, Thou sealest up the sum full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yah. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardis, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day that thou was created. Is this a human being?
Lucifer.
Sound like half the time.
No, he couldn't be human because he said, in the day that thou was created.
Exactly. And then about the precious stones and all.
Oh, he got the precious stones in him. What else makes you believe that this isn't human? Let's go back. He said, thou hast been in Eden. How many humans was in Eden?
Adam, Eve,
And only two humans.
the devil.
Two. It was only two. It was Adam and Eve. So whoever this person was, he had already been in the Eden in the Garden of Yah. This is very important to remember. Not only had he been in Eden in the Garden of Yah, but he was living on the earth as who?
The king of Tyre.
The king of Tyre. I was waiting on you, Sister Daya. I was waiting on you. I was waiting on you. He was living on the earth as the king of Tyre. Oh, y'all ain't ready for me today. I mean, you just not ready for me today. Did you get that he was living on the earth as the king of Tyre? Full of wisdom.
Taking the occupation of a man.
Absolute occupation of a man, full of wealth. And then the Most High started to reveal who he was. He spoke to him like a man in the first part of the chapter, but then when you got down to verse 11, let me do it over. I'm going to do it over just for your sake. I'm going to do it over. That's it. You got to listen. Watch. Watch what he says. Ezekiel chapter 28. The word of the Most came again unto me, saying, now listen, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Most High, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am Elohim. Watch. He's already declared he's an Elohim. I sit in the seat of Yah. In the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not Yah, though thou set thine heart as the heart of Yah. Watch. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore thus saith the Most High Elohim, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of Yah, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their sword against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. And they shall bring thee down to the pit, and thou shalt die the death of them that are slain in the midst of the sea. Wilt thou yet say before him that slay thee, I am Yah? But thou shalt be a man, and know Elohim in the hand of him that slay thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Most High Yah. Watch what he said. That's when he talks to him as though he was a man. But he's on the earth as a king. He's the king of Tyrus. Watch what he says. Now he's going to reveal who he really is. He said, moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, Thus saith the Most High Elohim, Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of Yah. So we know that this is not no ordinary person, because he couldn't be a man, because it was only two human beings in the Garden of Eden. That was Adam and Eve. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee, when? In the day that thou wast created.
Created and not born?
As man, created and not born. Watch what he says. Watch. He said, Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee so. Thou was upon the holy mountain of Yah. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy way from the day that thou wast created, till iniquity was found in thee. By the multitude of thy merchandise they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore will I cast thee as profane out of the mountain of Yah, and will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thy heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuary by the multitude of thine iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee. It shall devour thee, and I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. That's what he said. All they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Wait a minute. So everybody that knows him as the king of Tyre shall be, he said, all they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and never shalt thou be any more. What? Any question. So he's living on this earth as a man, but he's really an angel. He's really a prince.
Right. I say. Yeah. So 16 said he's covering cherubs from the midst of the stone of fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're describing him in 16. Okay. Wow.
On the earth, that's why I tell everybody, you cannot read this book from a practical standpoint, because one thing about this book is the stories that we're reading right now, we will fulfill when Yahweh sets up his kingdom, because we're going to be living on the earth as men and women on the earth, but we're not going to be human either. The same thing, like it is now, it's going to be then.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that are living among us that are not human. They look the part, and some of them hold very high positions, very extremely high positions. This person was a king.
Wow.
Watch. This ain't even it yet. Hold on. We're on our way. Watch. This is called the predestinated dominion. I got to touch this. I got to touch this just a little bit. Is this good? Are you still with me? Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah, I am.
Sure we are.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And Yah said, let us make man in our own image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So Yah created man in his own image. In the image of Yah created he him, male and female created he them. And he blessed them, and Yah said unto them, be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion. There go that word again. He said, have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. And Yah said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed. So every herb on this earth carries its own seed, so that everything produces after its own kind, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree. And in the which is the fruit of the tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for me. He said every tree and every herb has a seed within itself that it can produce after itself, so that you can use it for consumption. He never has to go back and redo anything. Once he sets it in motion, it just happens over and over and over and over and over again. Watch. Watch what he says. And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat, and it was so. Watch. And Yah saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning was the sixth day. Watch. Mm-hmm. The formation of man. Now watch, we know that everything went across in Genesis 2, and it was formed in Genesis 1, and it was formed in Genesis 2. Now watch. Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, Yah ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the seventh day from all of his work which he had made. And Yah blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which Yah created and made. These are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, in the day that the Most High Elohim made the earth and the heavens. And every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. Of the Most High had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. But there went up a mist from the earth, and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Most High formed the man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And the Most High planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So if he where did he make Adam at?
It was outside the garden somewhere. I don't know exactly, but it was not in the garden.
Not in the garden, no ma'am. No ma'am. It was not in. Let me go back again so we can see. Listen at what it says. And the Most High Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground. So we still know we made of dust, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living soul. And the Most High Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. So Adam wasn't made in Eden. He was just put there. Oh, listen. Why, here we go. And out of the ground made the Most High to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Oh, my goodness. Now, we just said earlier that the Most High was the one who created evil. He created good, and he created evil. So if he did that, stands to reason he also created the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. He did that. And what did we say it was? It was duality. What else did you say it was, sis? It was the opposition of good. And what else was it somebody said it was? What else did you say it was? That evil was an opposition of good and duality to good and evil. It was the opponent of one was the opponent of the other, and Yah created it all. Watch what happens.
Right.
Remember about predestination. Now watch. And the river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted and became to 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison. That is it which compassed the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold. And the gold of the land is good. There is bdellium and the onyx stone. And the name of the second river is Gihon. The same is it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. And the name of the third river was Hiddekel. That is it which goeth toward the east of Assyria, and the fourth river is Euphrates. We got 4 rivers. Now watch. And the Most High Elohim took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. He put him there.
Oh, okay.
Never made there. Now watch what happened. And the Most High Elohim commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou mayest freely eat. He said, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it, for in the day that thou eat thereof thou shalt surely die. This was the commandment. This was the law. This was the commandment that Yah gave unto Adam. These were the instructions. Now watch what he says. He says, and the Most High said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. And out of the ground the Most High Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. So that's why when you see animals dying, guess what they got to go back to? They got to go back to the dust. When the birds die and all the other living creatures, they have to go back to the dust, because they were formed from the dust of the ground. Watch. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him. And the Most High caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Most High Elohim had taken from man, made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bone, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And any questions at all whatsoever?
I noticed something here I never really paid any attention to when I read the scripture. When it says here, so actually God created Garden of Eden, fixed it up, put the trees and all those others. Then he put Adam there. So all Adam had to do was keep it up.
All he had to do was keep it up.
Right.
All he had to do was keep it up and follow instructions.
Right. But a lot of times in the past, I think still now, I noticed I was texting my sister the other day and we were talking about this briefly. And a lot of Christians believe that Adam was created in Eve, like you were saying earlier, but he wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
He was created, but he wasn't created in Eden when God created Eden. It was totally different. He created Adam, and then he created Eden, and then he put him in there.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. That's what it said. Yes, ma'am. That's what he said. And then my question was, where did you create him at? But wherever
create who? Adam?
From the earth. He still had to come from the earth, but he wasn't created in Eden.
Right. Right, exactly. But I think most Christians believe that Adam and Eve was created in Eden. But actually they were not.
They were not, and that's what we've been taught. So again, in order for us to understand this story, we have to divorce everything we've been taught.
Exactly.
Watch what it says. And were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now, there's a reason why they said they was naked. There's a reason why it says they was naked and was not ashamed. Because in order for you to be ashamed of something, you have to feel guilty about something. Oh, y'all ain't gonna, I'm going to mess with you today. In order for you to feel ashamed about something, you would have had to have done something wrong.
So that's what evil and good come in at?
Wait a minute, sis. In order for you to feel ashamed about something, you would have had to have committed a sin.
Yes, exactly.
There was no shame. It was no shame to it. It was nothing there but purity and honesty. And that was the good that they found in themselves. There was nothing there but purity, honesty, and love. That's all it was. There was nothing to make them feel any other way other than that. So they functioned normally walking naked, doing what they were told to do. Anybody have any questions? Because I know y'all want to get in on this. I know, and some people's phones hung up, and I am so sorry, but I cannot interrupt this right now. We're going to have to write your questions down, and when we do this, I'll open up the question and answer, and we can go from there. But in order for you to feel shame about something, there had to be something wrong.
So can I ask a question? Just a synopsis I had. So could God have created good and evil, so that we can show who our leading us to.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
No
he
question.
placed even good there for us to choose.
Oh, yes, you're on the right track. She said, so we can show through our lives who our allegiance is to. No question about it. But it has to be there in order for you to understand the difference between the two. Because there was no shame in it at all. They had no shame. And they specified that they both was naked. Both of them was.
Mm-hmm.
Watch. Oh, we call it the executed plan. Now we can get to the good stuff. I had to lay the groundwork.
Mm-hmm.
So we could get to the good stuff. Hold on, here we go. Genesis chapter 3. Now watch this. He says, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, hey, has Yah said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? He said, hey girl, did he tell you weren't supposed to eat from this? What is he executing right there? Right at verse number 1. What is the serpent doing right now?
Introducing evil to her.
Oh, is he not introducing evil? Is he not introducing evil?
Yeah, he is. He sure is.
Yeah.
Ain't he introducing it? Girl, don't start me discussing. Ain't he introducing it to her? But because guess what he's doing? The first thing he's doing is questioning her what the commandment that she was given.
And creating division too.
And creating division and manipulation. What he say? Did he really say, oh, he's introducing evil? And in order for him to introduce evil, what does that mean about him?
You got to know about the good and evil.
He had to experience it, didn't he?
He knows the difference.
Yeah.
Right.
In order for him to introduce it, he had to experience it. What did you just say, sis? Because somebody had to exhibit whose allegiance they had to what? He's showing who his allegiance is to, ain't he?
Mm-hmm.
That what you just said?
Yes,
He's telling her right here who he worships and who his allegiance is to.
Mm-hmm.
Watch what he said. He said, and the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the trees of the garden. Watch what she said. She said, but of the fruit of the tree, which is in the midst of the garden, Yah has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. What? And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. Watch. Now he lying to her, but watch what happened. Watch. For Yah doeth know. Now listen to what he's trying to tell her. But Yah doeth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Sound like somebody had already been through that, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Because you got to from experience, don't you?
Sure.
So he had already done it, hadn't he?
Yeah.
And then for God made men to encourage them to do it.
Girl, say that one more time.
Like a little push. Okay, he put God's name in to give them the encouragement, to give them a push. Like, it's okay.
Absolutely. He brought Yah into it. He said, but he knows. For Yah do him know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open. Somebody had to have that experience in order to share it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. As if God trying to keep something from him. Or where he really was, good and evil, but...
Watch. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eye, a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave it also to her husband with her, and she did eat. So they done already broke covenant. They done been disobedient. They have now sinned. Death has now entered. They have been made aware of what?
Good and evil.
The difference between good and evil.
Good and evil. Mm-hmm.
Watch what he says. And the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Why would they even be caring about the fact that they was naked?
Because they knew they had broken the law. So God told them not to do it, so they broke the commandment. He commanded them not to eat of it.
I know, but why was the naked part so important for them to understand? What? Let's keep going. I'm going to ask you a question.
Sin would be crept in.
Say that again?
Sin would be crept in.
That's true. That's very true.
I think it's because they were no longer covered.
Oh, so they were.
I was going to say the covering.
Well, let's see. Let's see if that's what it is. Let's see. And they heard the voice of the Most High Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Most High Elohim among the trees. Now they hide now among the. There was something something they've done has made them feel guilty. Something that they have done has made them feel ashamed. Something that they have done has made them feel exposed. Watch. And the Most High Elohim called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said unto thee, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree, whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldst not eat? And the man said, Listen at this, now we guilt blaming. The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And the Most High said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. And the Most High said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. And upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity, between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now, the million-dollar question is, why did he only put hatred between the serpent and the woman?
Because he's the one who make her sin, convince her, show Yeshua's name, convince her.
He's the one that convinced her. Yes, he did. He did. He convinced her to do something. He convinced her to go against Yah. And what else?
So did she turn around and encourage Adam?
How does he have a seed?
What was the question?
How does he have a seed? He said, and I will put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed.
Because, listen, Cain was the devil's seed.
Cain was Lucifer's son. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was the seed of the devil.
So he was the seed of Lucifer. Now, if
Yeah.
that's the case, then explain to me again why they were why they felt like they was ashamed because they was naked.
Because something happened.
Uh-oh. Come on, brother.
Sounds like they were blind.
He said something happened. Something happened. What you mean something happened?
Something happened. Something took place in the garden between Satan and Eve. Something happened. I mean, I don't want to go all the way out there and look crazy, but something physical happened probably. Because I looked that word up because that was something that was really interesting to me, and I couldn't understand it. And that word that's translated from the old book is nasalat, which means physical offspring. And in order for Satan to have physical offspring, there's only one way for those offspring to come into this earth.
Uh-oh.
And that was because Satan and Eve may have had something may have happened. Like I said, I don't want to sound crazy, but that's just something that crossed my mind, that there was a physical interaction that actually took place in the garden.
Because they kept paying attention to the fact that they was naked. Now let's go back to verse 13 and watch what y'all said. And the Most High said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? He said, what have you done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Watch. And the Most High said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity, hatred, that's what that word means, between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed, and it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. He specifically put hatred between him and us.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred.
And I think it's because,
Go ahead, sis.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to say that I'm thinking the reason he put hatred between the serpent and Eve is because there was both of the first of the two that initiate that command that he gave and broke it, where she allowed him to encourage her to do it. So, yeah, this is my thought.
Okay,
because it was a command from him, from God, for her not to eat it.
Oh, and I'll go with that. He was the one, he beguiled her. He tricked her. He was slick and he tricked her. Tricked her into committing an offense, to doing something that was evil. But like Brother Yerusalem said, in order for him to have an offspring, something else had to take place.
Well, was his offspring at that time, or is it saying he had an offspring at that time, or could have been an offspring later, seed? Or seed or seed? Did it say seed?
Everything started right here. He said, I'm going to put enmity between thee and the woman, between thy seed and her seed. So in order for
seed, not seed, but seed.
Something had to jump off.
Yeah, because Cain was the wicked seed. And Abel, remember he killed Abel?
Oh, okay, I see where you're going with this one.
Abel was the godless seed.
Okay, that's thought-provoking.
Something happened.
Okay, and Cain killed Abel. Cain was wicked. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's thought-provoking, so...
Why are we so afraid to say that they had sexual relationship? Because here's the thing. When you say something wrong, you put your hand to your mouth. You do something wrong with your sexual organs, I guess you want to cover it up, right? And that's what they did.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's a good argument. Okay.
That's right. And they were ashamed, weren't they, sis?
Yeah, because but when you were a child, you never say a bad word, you cover your mouth, right? after you said it and somebody said, oh, you shouldn't say that, you cover your mouth. You did your hands to your private parts.
You cover your private parts. Yes, you do. But the thing about it is the Most High knew what they had done. He said, who told you you was naked? And why do you feel ashamed?
Yeah, not only did they do it, but they were informed that what they had done was wrong.
Yes, they would. Yes, they would. They knew at the moment that they did it. Now, watch. I'm going to prove it to you. Watch. I can prove this. This right here I can prove. Watch. He said, and unto the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children. Why was that the punishment for her? What? And thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. He said, I'm going to have to put you under somebody because, see, you didn't follow instructions, and I told you not to touch that. What? He said, and unto Adam he said, because thou hast hearkened to the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. He said, I had you set up and eat, all you had to do was, it was growing at your voice. When you said, give me, it came. Now you got to work for it. Watch. Thorn or this shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread, till thou return unto the ground, for out of it was thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. And Adam called his wife Eve because she was the mother of all living. Does all mean all?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh.
So then
can I ask you a question before you go on?
Was Eve the mother of the serpent seed?
Yes, she was.
Right. So my question is, was Satan, was he a serpent? Was that a cherubim? Was he an actual man? I mean, for seed would have to come from an individual. So if it's actually his seed, he couldn't have been a serpent. Well, I shouldn't say he couldn't have been a serpent, but was he a serpent? Was he a cherubim? Was he an actual man? If he brought forth Cain?
You know what? I'm going to say it to you like this. You've missed some teachings. Because when you go, and Brother Leonard, I have to give him credit for this, because Brother Leonard showed us in, I think it was in the book of, is it Jubilees or is it Jasper, where the angels are circumcised.
Mm-hmm.
They have male genitalia. All of them do.
Right.
So even if whatever he was, he has the ability to get his seed.
Okay.
I told you.
Okay, so that was that evil then.
I told you in the beginning when we started, we dealing with a supernatural Elohim.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to
I understand.
I'm just, I have an open mind, and I like to think through stuff, and I have an open mind, so I mean, it doesn't matter.
You're asking good questions.
Yeah.
They asking this to themselves. You can't think like your natural mind thinks, because everything
no, you can't. No,
is on the earth. Every system that he brought to earth, from the circumcision of Adam to the temple to the order of the Levi priests, all that was already in heaven first. We're just duplicating what's up there. Mm-hmm. There's nothing new under the sun.
Under the sun, exactly. So the Most High was really angry with this because of the curse that he brought up on Eve. So can you say if that's what kicked off the wickedness throughout the land? How he had to eventually cleanse the earth because it was so wicked?
Well, let me ask
you. I mean,
was
that didn't supposed to? Oh, go ahead.
Does death mean death?
Does death mean death? Yes.
Yes. Does death mean death?
I think it does. Mm-hmm.
So he said, on the day that you eat of it, thou shalt surely die.
Right.
So by them doing that, did they become evil?
Well, yeah, they did. They committed an evil act.
So then who was their allegiance to?
Was Satan.
To
whoever Satan
right.
was.
Absolutely. Well, and we can prove that because watch what he says. He said, and unto Adam also and to his wife did the Most High make coats of skin and clothe them. And in order for him to make coats of skin, where did the Most High have to get the skin from?
Kill an animal.
You have to kill something.
Kill an animal. That basis why we have to slaughter animals for the atonement of our own sins.
And since
so was that the first sacrifice?
Absolutely. Go ahead, Lucia.
Okay, and when you went back to verse 14, when he talked about, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all the cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon the belly thou shalt go, meaning the commonness of it, and the dust, which when we talk about the dust is man. And thou shalt eat all the days of thy life. So in my eyes, when I read that portion, that right there was the sentence of your actions. This is what is going to happen to man because of your actions. The dust, meaning man. There's a separation right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're going, guess what? You're going to return back to where you came from. Absolutely. From dust thou art.
Are you going back to that type?
Absolutely.
Say again?
I said from dust thou art, and from dust thou shalt return. Now he put the serpent on his belly because the serpent had to slither through the dust for the rest of his life because he was standing upright. He was standing upright. He was an upright standing creature. Which. Now that's a whole nother sermon all by itself. But he was standing upright.
That's true. And then when you say that he is standing upright, and when he goes down, that is you being brought low because of your cunningness, the sin that you have committed.
Absolutely.
The dust is when we talk. I mean, before this verse, we talked about man was the dust. That's where you're going. That's how he was created, and that's where you're going to return. So that's when the separation, to me, happened. This is because of your action. This is where sin is coming in. This is the penance of what you have done.
Absolutely. And actually, he spoke that on all of them. Not just Adam and Eve, but the serpent too. Everybody going back to the dust. Everybody is. Now, whether Lucifer used, I ain't even going to get into that one. I'm going to leave that one alone. I ain't going to mess with that right now because I have to go through a whole nother teaching for that one. But he was a created being. He was a created being, and he beguiled her into doing what he did, and they had physical relations.
Let me ask you this: are we going back to Tyree when it talks about the cherubim?
Not yet.
Are we going to relate that to this?
Go there. No, we ain't going back there. We're going to keep going. And
I'm not. I just want to know if we're going to go back eventually.
Yes, we will. And guess what? And Most High killed an animal to put skin over them, and that's where the animal sacrifices come from. That's where it starts.
Yes,
he had to kill an animal to make skin covering for their bodies.
Okay, Sister Yaina.
Yes, ma'am.
I said we're not going to go back. But at some point, are we going to revisit chapter 2? Because a question just popped into my mind. When the Most High told them they could eat of all the trees except for the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now we know that they're speaking euphemistically and like in code, because we know it was not a tree.
Right.
I mean, it was not an apple or whatever.
Right.
So this tree of the knowledge of good and evil, he was a different kind of quote-unquote tree than the other trees, because they were told they could eat freely of them.
Yes.
But when they ate, quote-unquote, ate, and we know how they ate, right, of this particular tree, now they knew stuff they didn't before, and they were ashamed of that knowledge. So anyway, let's get on with the lesson. We're going back to this lesson time, right?
Yes, we will. Let me put it to you like this. This is how I characterize it in my mind. I believe that Lucifer was, and the tree was there. I believe that whatever it was on the tree gave them the insight to open up their eyes. I believe that's how I look at it. I look at it because I could take it in a whole other direction, but just for the simplicity of it all, it was a tree. But it had something on the tree that when they ate of it, it opened up their eyes. I don't know whether they became sexual, they saw each other different. I don't know whether she was seduced or what it was that happened to her at that moment. But something happened because Eve is the mother of all living. So something had to happen if the serpent had his own seed. That means offspring, and that offspring had to come through the womb of that woman. It couldn't have got here no other kind of way.
And the fact that when she ate it, she probably started experiencing all the emotions that a woman experiences.
Something happened. Something happened. Like Brother Raphael said, something happened. You know? And as a result of that, because they sinned, the Most High had to cover them with coats of skin. In order for him to do that, he had to kill an animal. Now watch. Watch what happened. We ain't going to go, we almost finished. And now watch what he says. And the Most High said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil. And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever. He said, oh, he know the truth. Wait a minute, not only does he know it, he knows that I created it. He's experienced it, something from it, and they have sinned. They have done the unthinkable and have brought something into the earth that was not supposed to be here. Watch what he did.
And here we are today.
Oh, yes, sir. Watch what he did. Therefore, the Most High Elohim sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he was taken outside of the Garden of Eden. Watch. And so he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword, which turns every way to keep the way of the tree of life. Something happened. Now let me show you proof something happened. I think we've already proved it because Eve is the mother of all living souls. She's the only way they could have got here. He had a seed. He told him, thy seed and her seed. He put enmity between the two, and something happened physically between them that they were ashamed because they were naked. Before, they didn't know nothing about being ashamed. They didn't know anything about guilt. They didn't know anything about the things that come along with being disobedient. They didn't know anything about it. Something happened to cause them to know that. Now let me prove it to you. We know the difference between Cain and Abel. I didn't even put it in there because we know that Cain killed Abel. We know that Cain was different from all the other people and that the Most High put a mark on Cain so that no man would be able to touch him. He showed him mercy even then. Watch what happens. We're going here. The generations of Adam, Genesis chapter 5. This is one of the most profound books in the scriptures. You know why? Because it tells you who belongs to who. Watch. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that Yah created man, in the likeness of Yah made he him. Let me read it one more time just for the audience out in the internet. This is the book of the generations of Adam. In the day that Yah created man, in the likeness of Yah made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day when they were created. Watch. Adam lived 130 years and begot a son, listen what it says, in his own likeness and after his image, and called his name Seth. Where is Cain?
Well, Cain was not after his own likeness in his image.
Where is Cain?
He was banished.
He gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why wasn't he mentioned?
He's a wanderer.
Why wasn't Cain mentioned?
Because it was not his son.
He's the son of the serpent.
It wasn't his son.
Right.
I can go back again. Let me do it again. I'm just going to do it one more time, y'all. Here we go. I'm going to do it one more time for the sake of the listening audience. This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that Yah created man. This is in the beginning. In the likeness of Yah made he him. All right. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their names Adam. In the day when they were created. So this is the beginning. This is the creation of the human being. This is Adam and Eve. This is them too. Now watch. That's what it says. Adam lived 130 years and begot a son. Well, wait a minute. There was already two sons that was already created.
The righteous seed was killed by Cain.
Oh, so the righteous seed, the good seed, because remember there's always what? Good and what else?
Evil.
And evil.
Mm-hmm.
So we always say it's a duality. And you said it was a duality of things. That you had to know the difference between one or the other so that you could portray who your allegiance is through. Right? Ain't that what you said
Exactly.
earlier?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you said, right? So
yes,
now let's what the Most High says about this. And he begot a son in his own image. Well, wait a minute. Wasn't Cain in his image?
No.
In his likeness after his image, and called his name Seth. Cain is not mentioned. And why is Cain not mentioned? Somebody tell me again, why is Cain not mentioned?
It's not his son.
Because he doesn't form the lineage of Adam.
Thank you. Hello, so he's not his son.
Say that again. Say that again, please.
He doesn't fall in the lineage of Adam.
Okay.
Right. And in the days of Adam, after he begot Seth, were 800 years, and he begot sons and daughters. So there were sons and daughters born. And all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Still no mention of either one of them. Watch. And Seth lived 105 years and begot Enos.
Mm-hmm.
And Seth lived after he begot Enos 807 years and begot sons and daughters. This is the lineage. This is the family tree. Watch. And all the days of Seth were 912 years, and then he died. And Enos lived 90 years and begot Kenan. Watch. And Enos lived after he begot Kenan 815 years and begot sons and daughters. Oh, look. Mm-hmm. And all the days of Enos were 905 years, and he died. And Kenan lived 70 years and begot Mahalaleel. Watch. And Kenan lived after he begot Mahalalel 840 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Kenan were 910 years, and he died. And Mahalalel lived 65 years and begot Jared. And Mahalalel lived after he begot Jared 830 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Mahalalel were 895 years, and he died. And Jared lived 162 years, and he begot Enoch. Here go Enoch. And Jared lived after he begot Enoch 800 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Jared were 962 years, and he died. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. Enoch walked with Yah after he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Enoch were 365 years. And Enoch walked with Yah and was not, for Yah took him. And Methuselah lived 187 years and begot Lamech. And Methuselah lived after he begot Lamech 782 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Methuselah was 969 years, and he died. And Lamech lived 182 years and begot a son. And he called his name Noah, saying, This same shall comfort us concerning our work and toil of our hands, because of the ground which the Most High had cursed. And Lamech lived after he begot Noah 595 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the days of Lamech was 777 years, and he died. And Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Any questions they are nowhere mentioned in the lineage of Adam.
But that's weird. But so who? Well, I don't want to go there. 16. I was looking at verse 16 through. I was looking at verse 16, where it talks about how Cain dwelled in the land of Nod, and they're going to say that when Cain went out, and this is the same Cain, right? That killed Abel, right? In 16. It says, and Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelled in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch, and he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch.
Now, they're not the same.
I know they're not the same. Enoch, they're not the same. So I just want to make sure. So Cain is why are they giving the same name? It's weird.
There's two different bloodlines. Just like it is today.
Right.
Is it two different bloodlines today?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm asking everybody. Is it two different bloodlines today?
Sure.
Yes.
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 It is. Yeah.
Yes.
It's the same
Absolutely.
level. There's nothing new under the sun. It's two different bloodlines now. That's walking the earth. It's thy seed.
Well, you understand it's two different bloodlines.
There's thy seed and her seed. That's what
Right.
it is.
Because
He spoke it in. He said thy seed and her seed. Two totally different bloodlines.
And if you want to go back for comparison in the wording, when Adam named her Eve, he says because she's the mother of all living. But the opposite of that is he's not the father of all living.
You better come on.
No. I understand that. Yeah.
Woo! This stuff is deep. We ain't even got to the cream of the crop yet. I just had to lay this foundation so that when we go into the next phase of it, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, even one more question. So is Cain's seed still in the earth today, or is it just been wiped out?
Oh, that's a good question.
It probably is.
Yep, the evil is still here.
Still
So
here.
yep.
Still is.
Right.
Still is.
Because I hear some teacher from one of the camps says that Cain was some kind of way connected to Esau. I don't know, crazy. That's the teacher on kind of crazy stuff there.
It's a lot into that. We can go into that too. I got you on that too. But yes, his seed is still in the earth because the is still in the earth.
I remember watching National Geographic, The Real Eve, and the point that just stuck in my mind, the biblical Eve, everyone on the planet traced their mitochondrial DNA back to her. But they are confounded that there's so many different seed lines, So, yeah, every time I read that part where she was the mother of all living, absolutely.
She's the mother of all.
In fact, there's a verse in this.
That's profound. When he says she is the mother of all living, everything came through her womb. That's why the Most High had said to her, "What have you done?" Now, the $1 million question is, was he shocked, or was it all predestinated?
It was predestinated.
It had to be all predestinated.
So even with all that, he knew they was gonna do that.
Yeah.
So they were set up to fall.
Right.
Tree put right in the middle.
Well, we're not saying that God tempted them to fall, though.
Listen,
we're not saying that God tempted them to fall, right? Oh.
Say that again.
I said that we're not saying that God tempted.
Okay, let's do this first. Sister Adaya, go ahead. What was you saying?
I said that tree was put right in the middle of the garden where everybody could see it.
Absolutely. The biggest temptation of all.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay,
so my
go
question
ahead.
is,
San Diego, go ahead. What was you saying?
Okay. Okay. I was saying that, my name is Ernestine. Sorry. So I was saying that, so does that mean, that doesn't mean that God tempted them, because God can't tempt. But
he didn't tempt.
I mean, he put it out there.
He didn't tempt you. But guess what? That big old piece of chocolate cake
No, he can't tempt
on that table. Sis, that chocolate cake was sitting there on that table with that deep chocolate icing, and it was sitting there, it had about 3 layers to it.
I would just fall into it. So I love chocolate. So
it was just sitting
be very hard for me to.
And he told you no. When somebody tell you no, and it's just sitting there, and you like, man, it became the most prettiest tree in the garden. And you weren't supposed to touch it. The very thing that he tell you can't have, that's the thing you want the most. And you like, I can't. He said, don't even touch it. Forget taste it. Don't even touch it. And believe me, it got their attention.
Yeah.
Indeed.
So even though she didn't know the taste of it, the fact that she desired to have it.
She desired to have
more
it.
so than being obedient to God's commandments.
Absolutely. And ain't that what a battle is? The battle was always in the mind. You got to desire it before you go get it.
Exactly.
You don't touch nothing or taste nothing you don't desire. He said it right there. It was predestined for them to go through that whole test. Was it a test? Absolutely it was. It was a test. Did they have free will? They did.
It was
they
a
had
test.
free will to obey what he told them to do. Did they obey? They did not. And yes, his seed is in the earth. And yes, it's still walking among the earth.
And he gets to get glory when he comes back to destroy them all.
Absolutely.
And when they did that, they actually gave Satan dominion.
Uh-oh, sis, don't you touch my lesson. You better not touch my lesson. Yes, he did. Yes, they did. At that point, dominion was transferred. Yes, it was. They gave it away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when the plan of redemption kicked into action. Of course they gave away the dominion. Because the inheritance and all of the other stuff goes to who? The firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Cain was her firstborn. Well, I'll say this. The legend has it that she gave birth to twins that had two different fathers. And that is a real medical thing. It's possible to do.
Would that explain Genesis, the first verse in chapter 4? Because I was always wondering about that verse, about Adam and Eve and Cain.
Yes.
The twins, too.
She was the mother of all living.
Mm-hmm.
Of all living.
Okay, I was looking for the scripture that says in Ecclesiastes 4:16, there is no end of all the people, even of all that have been before them. They also that come after shall not rejoice in him. Surely this also is a vanity and vexation of spirit. So it says there's no end of all people or nations.
No.
So I guess that would answer my question about Cain.
Yeah. He's been around forever since the beginning. His children, his seed, her seed, has been around since the beginning.
Right. It says even of all that have, because it says even of all that have been before them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They also okay.
Absolutely. This is more powerful than anything you could ever begin to imagine. He set the stage, and they fell for it. Because he knew they would. She took the bait.
Wow.
And this story of the two daddies, right, would explain why Paul in Romans 9, when he was talking about Rebecca's children, he said emphatically that Rebecca, when she had conceived by one, so that we understand that the twins that were in Rebecca's womb were by the same daddy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No question. Yes, ma'am. It all plays into you. The story begins to become alive. Just like the coats of skin. Okay, well, it don't really say that. No, it don't really say that, but it also says that the Most High took coats of skin. In order for you to get coats of skin off an animal, you got to kill them.
Sure do.
Yep.
Or alive and he stay alive? For real. You can't do that. And because he had to do that, set the stage for the sacrificial law. Set the stage for the sacrificial law. But the best part to take away from this all in the beginning is evil was created so that it could exist with good. And that when Lucifer decided, look at here, that he was going to do what he did, he was the first one to experience evil in the first place. That way, when the garden was created and Adam was put in it and Eve was formed, he knew already what the consequences was going to be because he had already made his allegiance to evil. That's why he questioned, what did he say to you? What did he really say? He don't really mean you're going to die for real. Please. He knew already what it was going to be. He knew what the outcome was going to be because he had already made his allegiance with evil. He became the villain Oh my goodness, you don't understand. He set him up to be the villain. He set him up because of his heart, because of the things that came out of his mouth. This whole thing is a setup. It is. That's why he questioned her like he did. That's why he manipulated her the way he did. That's why he did it the way he did. Because he knew he needed some company. And in order for him to get the thing off, like he needed to get access to this world and to be able to be the power over this world, his son had to be born first, and he knew that. He knew it. And guess what? Christ told him, he told the disciples that, I think it was in the book of John. He said, I'm going to share something with you. Remember they said, why do you always speak in parables? He said, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of God, of Yah. He said, but this thing has been hidden is the foundation of the world. And then he gave the parable of the wheat and the air.
Yep.
It's the parable of the wheat and the
It's like only the Holy Spirit can reveal the mysteries.
Oh, goodness.
And y'all turns.
Go ahead, sis.
No, go ahead. I'll do after you.
He said all the prophets of old wish to have known this secret that we never let out. But now it's time for you to know it, so you know exactly what's getting ready to happen. He said the prophets of old desired to know this, but it wasn't time to reveal it unto them. But it's given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of Yah. Go ahead, Adele.
And only the Holy Spirit can reveal those mysteries.
Yes. Go ahead, Adele. What was you saying?
And I was just going to say, Yah turns over that firstborn, that seems to be a law in the earth, but he turns it over with Ishmael. It's by his word who's going to rule.
Yes, absolutely.
Ishmael was not supposed, he came first, but that wasn't the one that was promised.
Nope.
He turns over Manasseh and Ephraim with Joseph. Yep. I know that was the firstborn, but I'm going to choose who's going to. It's through Yah's going to always choose.
Yes, absolutely. Esau and Jacob.
Esau and Jacob.
Esau and Jacob. And some people seem to feel like that the same way with Esau and Jacob is the same way it was with Cain and Abel. I haven't been able to prove that yet, but he came out the gate hating Esau. Remember Paul talked about
hating Abel.
I'm talking about Esau and Jacob. I'm talking about Esau and Jacob. He came out the gate hating. Paul talked about that. Remember, he said both of the boys hadn't done nothing wrong. They hadn't even been born in the earth. But he said, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated.
And Esau have come of the Most High. Yeah.
So I ain't been able to prove that yet. But something going on.
It's crazy. That's the same scripture where Paul talks about Rebecca had conceived of one, and the Lord have mercy on whom he will have mercy.
Yeah. It's crucial.
Yeah, this is my story.
Even though Esau was a Hebrew, but he wasn't an Israelite.
He wasn't an Israelite, no. And like you said, this is his story. He's gonna tell us the way this is crucial. When you break this stuff down right here, oh my goodness, my Lord. Something happened. What Brother Rockland said, something happened. Yeah, something happened. Sure did. They was doing that unnatural thing that they weren't even supposed to do yet. They didn't even know about doing none of that. He introduced them to all of it because they didn't even know nothing about no sex. And then when they finally was introduced to it, they felt shame. You know how you feel when you get up from somewhere you ain't had no business being? It's a guilt that come with it.
But when he created them, he told them to multiply and replenish the earth.
He did, but guess what? They hadn't done it yet. They hadn't done it yet.
Yeah, but do you think with who she did it with is what made him ashamed, not Adam?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what they had done, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. You better believe
now,
it.
So did she commit adultery?
Sure.
Yeah, she did. That was
she married to Adam? Wasn't Adam her wife?
Yeah, he said that was bone. Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
All the above. Yes.
It was like only their disobedience, adultery factor.
Absolutely. That's why they felt the shame. All those feelings came rushing in, stuff they had never experienced. He said, why you hiding? Because we was nigga. Who told you? Have you done what I told you not to do? He knew they had done it.
I think of something else, too, and that is when you talk about adultery, my understanding is that if you sleep with someone else, that you cannot go back to your husband. But the fact that she had intercourse with Satan first, and then her husband, means that she could actually remain with her husband but by law, she couldn't go back to Satan. So he was barred from her. But then to top it off, the Most High said, I'm going to put enmity between your seed and her seed.
Yes. Yes.
And that's why Cain came out wicked, because of that little deed they did.
Yeah, absolutely. He had the characteristics of his own father.
Mm-hmm.
And then it answers the question that some people ask, like, well, why some people just can't do right? Because they can't do right. It's in them not to do right, because they carry that seed. That's why the jails is full of folks.
Exactly.
Get it. It's like, how come you don't know the apples and oranges don't mix? How come you just can't figure that out? Well, I just figured I'd just kill the whole family and just go away and start over again. Who does that?
The wheat
and the tear. So God created evil.
Say that again, sir. What'd you say?
The wheat and the tear grows together until the day of harvest.
Yes, sir. And the angels will be the one to separate them. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What was you saying?
So evil and good, that means that he had to. I was saying that if he created evil and good, that means that he had to create individuals to play those parts, evil and good, or preordain them to play those two parts.
Yeah, I guess so. Say that one more time. I didn't hear that. Say that again now.
Okay. If he created evil and good, that means also, we're saying that some people are just destined to be evil. Well, then he created those to play those parts. There has to be someone to play the part of good and evil if he's going to create evil and good. It has to be participants.
Yes.
That makes sense?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. He had to create players to play the part of evil, just like he created players to play the part of good. And guess what? We all predestined.
Yep, basically.
Nothing happens by chance. This is the mystery. That's why you got vessels of honor and you got vessels of dishonor. And remember we were saying the last week that the vessels of evil can only pretend for so long, because after a while they have to show the true attributes of their father.
Mm-hmm.
It's crucial. I'm telling you, like, how come, wait a minute, wait, then you see on Dayline NBC, he be like, she just got up in the middle of the night and walked off, and that nobody's ever seen her since. They be like, you mean tell me she left all her kids, her purse, her cell phone, to go walking in the snow? And the police is looking at the husband like, are you serious? You really want us to believe this? They don't think the same way we do, because their deeds are evil.
And I guess that explains why Judas did what he did. He was created to do what he did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he had no choice, Brother Uriah. It was already in him to do.
Mm-hmm. Had to fulfill something.
He had to show his allegiance to which side he was on, whether it was good or evil. And the problem comes in, as what the said just a few minutes ago, they live among us. They dwell among us. They look like us. Some of them smelling good, talking good, working good, got good money, drive good cars. They doing all the right stuff. And Israel is looking at him like, oh, he is really good. Oh, he really likes me. And the Most High said, no. Taste not, touch not, handle not. Same way with the women. She looking just like you like it. Built just like you like it. And he said, no. We can run into them. We can. They living among us. That's why in all things through prayer and supplication we give thanks unto y'all. Don't make now another decision unless you talk to the Most High first.
That's it.
Because this is a real life thing right here. This is real life, up close and personal. This is real right here. That's why they don't even fool with us. They separate themselves from us. They completely separate from us in certain areas. You know, some of them we get to watch on TV and they grin and sachet. They got all the wealth and the money and all the stuff they got, and they gonna live it the way they live it. And you be looking like, how can them people do that kind of stuff? It's easy. It's in their nature.
Ecclesiastes says, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusts, so is his wickedness.
Yes.
True.
Yes.
And I was going to read 1 John 3:11. It said, for this is the message that you heard from the beginning, that we should love one another. And it says, not as Cain, who was of that wicked one, and slew his brother.
Yes.
And wherefore slew he him, because his own works were evil, and his brother's right.
Yes, hallelujah. Yes.
So that was that evil seed.
That's evil. He had the characteristics of his father.
Yeah, an evil seed. He was the evil seed. He was that very evil seed he mentioned in the book.
Absolutely.
In
that
Genesis.
was his son.
Mm-hmm. That's proof right there.
And now it's in the earth. Up close and personal.
Mm-hmm.
They look just like you. They smell like you. They look like you. They live around you. They droop their pants. They got them fingernails on. They look, their eyelashes back, and they look just like you, but they don't think the way you think. Trust me when I tell you that. It's a whole penal system full of them, male and female. Yeah. It is.
Wow.
And we be so confused, like, I don't understand why you just don't get it. You know? And it's like they ain't going to never get it. You'll be spending your whole life trying to make them get it. They don't get it.
No, they don't. It just frustrates me. I know. I need to stop being frustrated. It's like, can't you see?
No, they can't see. They
ain't not meant for them to see.
The Most High destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, and it still exists until to the days, you know?
Yes, indeed. And guess what? They was created to play that part, and they ain't going to get it. Vessels of honor and vessels of dishonor.
Oh, yeah.
Even in all of this is preordained and all how the Most High had this worked out, he's still just in all that he does. Even in, you look at it and said, some people look and say, well, that's unfair. No, he's just. He's just and fair.
Absolutely. Everything is fair. He wrote the story. It's the way he wanted to be.
Yeah. That's what says just and it's fair.
Only he could have did this and put this together like he did. It was beautifully written. You know, there's not a movie producer or an executive in Hollywood that could come up with something like this. None of them.
No.
Let me let me end the recording so I can open up the mic, because I know the other people that got kicked out, that they trying to upset because they want to get in on this. But I appreciate you all that are listening to us in the internet and out in the ether. We thank you for joining us for our Sabbath class, and we're gonna do phase 3 next week. I couldn't put it all together because it's too much to bunch into. We had to lay this foundation so that you can understand this thing. But please feel free. Now, tomorrow we're not going to have a radio show because we do observe Mother's Day, and I want to say to everybody that's out there, Happy Mother's Day. The Bible says we're supposed to honor our mother and father. Do something nice for your mother. If you go clean up the house, go cook, go do something, so she can kick up her feet. For all of you all who have lost your mother, this is the time when you think about her and you do something in honor of her. But I'm going to end the recording, and we'll see you guys next week for our regularly scheduled program. Thank you so much for